So the story is this. It's that the New York Times came out with a story today saying that James Comey is shopping a tell-all book. And when I say tell-all, I mean he's going to talk about everything that happened, the stuff that happened to him in his different governmental positions, including the stuff that happened to him in relation to President Trump. And so I had some reaction to this that I wanted to give you, but I want to let you know this was going on. Let me just show you right here the story. That story just came out. It says from the New York Times, it's today, and it says Comey's writing a book and publishers are eager to pay big money for it. So let's just go over the facts here that we know from this story. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. It says he's writing a book. It says he's been meeting with editors and publishers in New York in recent days. Talks he's being represented by a couple agents at a literary agency. And it says the book is expected to go to auction this coming week. So he's going to sell the book this coming week. And all the major publishing houses have expressed interest. And then if you go further down here, it says, if I can find it here, in that middle paragraph there, it says almost immediately after his firing, agents and publishers pounced, setting off speculation that Mr. Comey was contemplating writing a book. News outlets ran articles positing that Mr. Comey could land an 8-figure advance for his memoir, an 8-figure advance possibly. And let me go down to the bottom there, and it says, Mr. Comey's book will go through all this, not before that, but it says, but it still may contain some previously unrevealed details about Mr. Comey's dealings with Mr. Trump. After all, Mr. Comey is known to be an assiduous note taker. So this looks like, a tell-all book, a standard tell-all book. There's a part of this article where it says, I'll show you, it says, this third paragraph here. The book will not be a conventional tell-all memoir, but an explanation of the principles that have guided Mr. Comey through some of the most challenging moments of his legal career. Now that to me just sounds like a sales pitch, but when you see that he's going to be talking about his dealings with President Trump, it's basically a tell-all memoir book, the standard fare that the people in power normally do. So I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I have a couple thoughts, and I thought it was important to talk about this story for a couple of reasons. For one, I just have, and if you followed me on Twitter, you followed my coverage, you've heard me say this before. I think this general pattern of people in public service and government on both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, profiting greatly right after their service, off of their service, it's really disturbing to me because when you start thinking like there becomes this giant financial incentive to just become president, for example, that's one financial incentive. Or, I guess not every FBI director could write a tell-all book, but if you're in a position that's not the president, there is a giant financial incentive now to draw attention to yourself and to make and to get a lot of publicity. And as I tweeted out earlier, it's arguable that James Comey, by leaking the memos he did. Remember, once he was fired, he leaked the memos, and one of the memos talked about how President Trump had talked to him by himself and asked him if President Trump said something like, "I hope you can let this General Flynn thing go," or whatever it was, and those memos. I think you could argue that him leaking those memos and that stuff getting in the press led to that gigantic media frenzy Senate hearing he had. Remember, the country basically stopped that day he had that Senate hearing a few weeks ago, and people went to bars and watched it and got huge ratings, and even not even just the news networks, but the regular networks, NBC and ABC and stuff, they all covered it, and that got him so much publicity and so much press that to me it's arguable that him leaking those memos will end up getting him an additional 6 or 7 figures of income, if not 8 figures. I don't know what the deal for this book is going to be. So to me, it creates these financial incentives, huge financial incentives for people in governmental positions to do things which draw attention to themselves, which are controversial, which and or which involve, if you can get some information out there that's not supposed to be out there, but it's going to draw attention to yourself, and that can make you millions of dollars, that's a huge financial incentive. So it really, there's two things here. It bothers me, one, when people on either side of the aisle, and presidents on both sides do this all the time now, where they sign these giant tens of millions of dollar book deals. That's really disturbing. And also, secondly, there are these financial incentives for people in general in government to draw attention to themselves and make a name for themselves, because now they can write some big book after. So I found all of that very bothersome. And one other thing I thought about this was, I personally find it unseemly that he's shopping this book around before the Mueller investigation is even over. So he's presumably going around and talking to different publishers about, I would think he's giving them some sort of taste of the stuff he's going to talk about. Now, maybe he's not saying much, but I don't know. It just feels weird to me to have somebody going to publishers and shopping this book, and presumably by the end, like in a week or so, selling this book, talking about his experience, when, the big investigation that he supposedly leaked the memos so there could be Robert, so there could be a neutral investigator, I can't remember, my brain's not working, so I'm not remembering the correct term, like not a special prosecutor, but like a special investigator. He wanted supposedly this to happen. And now, before the investigation is even through its early stages, I assume the investigation has a way to go, he's already selling his book. Now, you'd think maybe he could wait at least until after the investigation to sell the book. I still don't think it looks good for him to sell the book. But you know what? That's, it's a capitalist system. He can do whatever he wants. But, he couldn't even wait till after the Mueller investigation is over. And, now on the other hand, if he waited, then he wouldn't sell the book for nearly as much. But the whole thing seems icky in a lot of ways to me. So that's my thought on it. And I think it's an important story because it, not just of what it says about Comey, but it illustrates this pattern where we're seeing these huge book deals from people in office right after they get out of office. And it just, again, it creates a giant financial incentive to A, become president, and or B, do things in office which get you attention. Huge. I'm not talking like $10,000 financial incentive. I'm talking about millions and millions of dollar financial incentive. So those are some thoughts I have on the matter. I don't know if you have any thoughts out there. I'd love to hear from you on this. So if you'd like to write to me, I am at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. You can write to me there. I don't think there's going to be a particularly long stream, but we wanted to come on and talk about this, and I thought it was an important issue to talk about with you and see if you have any thoughts on. So I'm going to check my messages right now, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts. Even if you disagree with me, I'd like to hear about it. So let me know what you think about this. Write to me on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Hello to everybody both on Facebook and YouTube, by the way, and thank you to the moderators for moderating the chat room. Amanda Team McGann says, "Hi Steve, I don't think we can trust the New York Times." So I get your sentiment, Amanda. I think on something like this, I'm willing to trust them on something like this. I don't think they have a giant, even though I think you can see an anti-Trump agenda in a lot of their articles, this would not be a story where the anti-Trump agenda would affect that kind of coverage. So I kind of trust them on this story. Now, maybe I'll turn out wrong here, but I kind of trust them on this story. But we'll see. Justice for Seth says Trump should quickly sign an executive order barring all federal employees from speaking about their job for 5 to 10 years. LOL. I was actually thinking about something like this, Justice for Seth. I think you raise a really interesting proposal, which would apply to everyone, including presidents, which is that you cannot profit off of your experiences in government for a certain number of years after. I find that very reasonable, and some people might say, well, you're preventing them from making money, but as I said before, for people on both sides, there's a giant incentive now to make a name for yourself, draw attention to yourself. You can make so much money by doing that. And I personally, as an American, don't feel good about that. So you have an interesting suggestion, Justice for Seth. Thank you for writing in. Let's see. Annabelle Onion writes in, "Nutjob Comey is such a drama queen. Boy, howdy," and a crying emoticon. That's from Annabelle Onion. Let's see here. Ronnie Mercer says, Steve, what are the odds that Comey will tell all regarding Obama and Lynch obstructing justice in the Clinton matter? I'd say 0%. That's a very good question, too. I don't know, Ronnie. Will he talk about Obama just as much as Trump or not, or Hillary Clinton stuff? I don't know. Maybe he will. That doesn't change my argument, by the way, that he still has an incentive to draw attention to yourself. Now, let me say this as well. I should be fair. Some people were very critical of James Comey. President Trump has been critical of him. I guess the Attorney General Sessions was critical of him for having that meeting, for announcing Hillary Clinton was under investigation again, or announcing they were re-looking at those emails, the Anthony Weiner emails. And some people said, like, he shouldn't have said that about her. And also some people were saying that, like, he shouldn't have that press conference. He shouldn't have had that press conference about her. They just sort of announced, we're not investigating her. We're passing, had no press conference, just said we're passing on the investigation our investigation is done. We're passing it on to, Attorney General Lynch. So some people were very critical of her. Some people were very critical of him having that having the June press conference about Hillary Clinton, and also doing the October, I think it was, if not October, November announcement about the Weiner emails, and saying that the investigation on Clinton had been reopened up, at least temporarily. Now, I'm not saying he did that to make money, but the thing is, both of those things he did, both that press conference, especially the press conference, but also that announcement about Hillary Clinton, they also made him a lot more famous. And arguably, that stuff, the press conference about Clinton and the email to Congress about Clinton in October and November, both things he was criticized over by a lot of people, are things which are going to make this book deal way more valuable. Now, I'm not saying that's why he did these things, but these are the kind of publicity-getting things that put tons of money into somebody's pocket when they sell a book right after they get out of office. So it's just, I find the whole thing a bit worrisome. Anyways, I want to hear more from you guys. Kara Ben says he will have a lot of time on his hands in his cell. Now, I'm not aware of James Comey being under investigation for anything, but thank you for writing in. Let's see here. Mrs. Smith said, I thought he already had a book deal. He did not. There were rumors he might be shopping a book, but today, the New York Times reports he's actively shopping it, and the auction among publishers will be this week, they say. Let's see. What is this? Is this a meme about this? Yeah, I want to show you a meme a viewer just sent me. This is from Extortion 17. Let me go find it here. It's here somewhere. I know it is. There it is. Extortion 17 sent me this. And it says, catch us if you can. And it says greased pig contest. And the pigs are labeled Comey, Hillary, Loretta, and Obama. So that's from Extortion 17. If you have a meme or a comment on this story we're talking about today, oops, sorry, where am I here? There we are. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Sorry, I'm messing things up here. There we go. If you have any comments, write to me on Twitter. I'm at Lookner, at Lookner. I'll read your comment on the air. I'm going over your comments right now. I should say, by the way, also, as we say once in a while here at Right Side, we're viewer supported. So if you enjoy our coverage, I'm guessing the mainstream media isn't covering this story today. They might say it's too small to cover, but we think it should be covered. If you enjoy our coverage, please consider donating, because your donations keep us on the air. If you'd like to donate, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate. That's rsbn.tv/donate. Or you can go into the YouTube chat right now, right next to the broadcast, and click on the $sign at the bottom of the chat room and donate that way. HDD writes in, lock him up. Annabelle Onion didn't a book publisher allegedly launder some money to Hillary for a book? I'm not aware about that, about any kind of laundering thing, but I don't know everything about everything, so you can always send me a link if you know more about this. I have not heard anything about this. Carl Peterson says, arrest Comey and he gets no proceeds from his book. So Carl, presumably you will not be buying James Comey's book. Sightless Seer says, I do agree there need to be rules to such things for people who work in public government services to prevent predatory behavior and personal gain. But I don't think politicians should profit from their service in general, from lobbyists, from tax dollars, from selling experience for fame, because I do consider it as preying on people. It's using mass reaction for personal gain. So that is from Sightless Seer. Thank you for writing in. And by the way, if you do want to see this story, it's in the New York Times, or it's on my Twitter feed at Lookner, at Lookner. I posted it there. And we'll be on the way a little. We're going to stay on a little longer here. So I'd like to hear more from you. What are your thoughts about this? Are you okay with Comey writing a book? Do you think I'm making too big a deal about it, and that it's not a big deal that he's selling a book for all this money? Or do you have problems with it? Let me know. Write to me. Reach out at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Speaking of Twitter, feel free to follow Right Side Broadcasting on Twitter, which is at RSB Network. I'm at Lookner on Twitter. You can follow me as well. And also, if you want to hear about our videos when we go on there and do these videos, subscribe to us on YouTube and click on the notifications bell so you get all of the notifications. Oh, and if you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share the video. We love when you do that because that lets more people know about Right Side Broadcasting. Hello to everybody in the chat room here. I'm going to read a couple comments from the chat room. Music World says, does the new book come with a pair of handcuffs? Angela Crummins said in the chat room, title, How to Let Hillary Clinton Off. Randall German says, this man Comey has covered up many evil crimes, period. Angela Crummins also says, title, I kissed Clinton's a blank blank. Chanel Regencia says, more memes, please. Hey, Chanel, if people send them to me, I'll show them. A number of people in the chat room are saying Comey broke the law. I presume you mean by leaking the memos? And Jason Thornton says, book comes with bleach bit and computer memory wipes. And Q writes in, oh, what a nice thing. Comey Trader still writes a book, still screwing America. So I haven't heard any positives yet about the Comey book. I'm hearing a lot of negatives out there. Chaneth just posted in the chat room, Scooby-Doo, newsflash, Scooby-Doo and gang busted Comey, plays victim card in Wright's book. Comey is overheard saying, and I'd gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling right-wingers. JC says Comey's book title is Leftism for Dummies. Mark Serenidis writes in, Bush 41 in Rumsfeld donated book proceeds to veterans organizations. Clinton donated proceeds to Clinton Incorporated. Let's see what Comey does with his dough. Thanks, Mark, for writing in. Sightless Seer says, what are your thoughts of his book being distributed for free to undermine any profits? He is doing something wrong in my eyes by selling his experience. Would undermining gain from doing so be considered right or simply another wrong? Well, it's up to him how, so, you know, in our society, you're allowed to sell profit off of your, at least the way the laws are now, you're allowed to profit off of your experience in government. So it's up to him if he wants to do it. Now, you know, some people might say, well, he shouldn't profit from that, but that's really his choice. Personally, I think it's bad when people in government profit greatly off of their service in government, because it's just that alone seems inappropriate to me. You know, and also I think also, as I said before, if people are profiting a lot from government service right afterwards, that creates a lot of, I feel, bad incentives, financial incentives for people to do things in office to get book deals in the like after office. Now, granted, a lot of these people do work hard. They give up years of their life. They don't make that much money. But you know what? A lot of these government people, they can make a lot of money. If James Comey wants to go consult for somebody or be a lobbyist, he can make a ton of money doing that. That in itself is bad, by the way. So, I mean, I should say, look, but strictly speaking, that like if you go consult for somebody based on you can consult for somebody and use your information that you know about how government works to help them. It's just, when you have a book, you're just telling about what happened to you in government. But anyways, it's just, however you deal with it, it's just to me a bad idea to have giant financial incentives for becoming famous in government. And I'm very much a free market person. I hate generally I'm like no to any kind of intervention in the market system, but I think in some cases it can be warranted. Ronnie Mercer says, Steve, how could an FBI director legally leak documents to a private citizen to leak to the New York Times? How is that not a crime? So this is a good question, Ronnie, and honestly, I'm not familiar enough with the statutes on FBI documents and whether they can be leaked or not. There's one question of whether it's legal. There's another question of does it violate FBI rules, which might be two different issues. So these are good questions, but these are technical issues I cannot give you a great answer on because I'm not familiar with the technicalities of it. I have my mug today. Okay, let me just see if there are any more comments here. Music World in the chat says book cover should be Hillary falling off ladder. Mark Hanapple says the Clinton machine will turn this book to lying propaganda. Ernie Hurd says if you work for government, you should sign a pledge. You say you sign a pledge, I think, but I'm guessing you meant you should sign a pledge. I'm just looking in the chat room more. Jason Thornton says Comey's new book title, Democratic Pinata. Joshua says the title should be How to Create a Nothing Burger and Make Everybody at CNN Take a Bite. The Comey Story, in parentheses, about matters. Okay, I think I've caught up to all of your comments. So, well, the comments seem to be pretty unanimous against this. I'd be happy to read comments if people want to support the writing of the book or say that there shouldn't be restrictions on this kind of thing, but nothing today. So, anyways, we weren't going to do a long stream here, so we just wanted to come on and get this on the air and talk about it. But anyways, I think we're going to wrap up the stream for now. So if there's further breaking news this weekend, we'll be happy to come on the air and bring it to you. But I want to thank thank you everybody for watching on your weekend. Thank you for everybody for writing in. Thank you to the moderators for to be in the chat room. I know JC was there, and thanks to you. And again, please consider making a donation, even a small one, to Right Side Broadcasting, because your donations let us be on the air and cover these stories, cover all kinds of stories. You can donate by going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or you can click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat room. And feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow and like us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting. Our Twitter is at RSB Network, and my Twitter is at Lookner on Twitter. And I cover a lot of breaking news if you like that stuff. So for now, I think, oh, and by the way, Angela Crummins was writing for the UK. She says cheers from the UK. Yeah, so everybody in the chat room, thank you for writing in and letting me read your comments. I appreciate it. And hello, everybody there. And I hope you're having a good weekend, all of you. And I will, and all the regulars who are in the chat room I see, like Linda Hull and Amanda Maccabee and Music World and Chanel and all of Jason and all of you people, and all of the new people too. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for watching. So I'm going to get off the air now, but I will be back if there's anything else going on this weekend, and I hope you have a great weekend. But for now, what am I? Oh, I have to figure out what I'm doing here at the end of coverage. But for now, hope you have a great day, hope you have a great night, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will see you all soon at Right Side Broadcasting.